everyone, it's Judith Norman, creator and producer of Cropped, VirtueRadioNetwork.com's affordable online scrapbooking and paper crafting video tutorials. A few months ago, I posted photos on Cropped's Facebook page of some cards I made using fabric. I got a lot of really positive feedback, and several of you asked for a video tutorial on how to work with fabric and paper. And I promised I would get right on it months ago. So yes, I am a little bit late. However, today is a new day, and I'm here to show you how to make no-sew fabric cards. That's right, there's no sewing. It's all glue, fabric, and paper. Now before I begin the tutorial, I want to tell you where I got the idea for the cards. It came from a book called Simply Sublime Gifts by Jody Kahn. I was flipping through the book when I came upon the fabric card project, and I thought to myself, this is perfect. I have a ton of paper and a whole lot of fabric. I can do this. The other thing I really appreciated about this project was the simplicity of it. You don't need a lot of embellishments or products or anything fancy to make a really pretty card to give to someone you love. So let's get started. Here are the supplies I'll be using in this video tutorial. First up, fabric. I'm using samples from Robert Kaufman. You'll also need cardstock, any color of your choice. You're going to need a rotary cutter and a self-healing mat, fabric stiffener, tacky glue, paper punches, glitter, crystals, assorted flowers, ribbon, paintbrushes, and scissors. This first card is my paper doll card. I loved paper dolls growing up. So when I saw this Robert Kaufman fabric with paper dolls all over it, I had to use it. Let me show you how to make it. The first thing I did was take a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and fold it in half lengthwise. Press over the fold with your finger or a bone folder just to make sure the card stays flat. Take your fabric. I'm using Robert Kaufman. This is a special fabric they have with a paper doll imprint. Cut away a piece of it from the main fabric. Doesn't matter if your cut is straight or not. We'll take care of that later. Then you want to take the fabric over to your ironing board and press it. And while you're at the ironing board, take about 1/4 of an inch and fold it over as if you're doing a hem and press that. That's going to be your seam. So go ahead and repeat the process for your back side using either the same fabric, or you can use a different fabric. I'm going to use a different fabric, but go ahead and repeat that same process of cutting it away from the larger piece of fabric, ironing it, and also creating that hem. Using a paintbrush, spread out some tacky glue over what will be the cover, the front side of the fabric card. And I'm just going to spread it all over. The brush really helps because you don't want a lot of clumps. You just want to have a nice spread of glue on there. Take the fabric that you're going to use for your front cover of your fabric card, place it, kind of position it on the card. Make sure that this seam that we had here, the little hem that we did before, make sure that is lined up with the fold on the cardstock. Just line that up and then smooth out the fabric on the card. You want to make it nice and smooth. Make sure there's no air bubbles. Nice and smooth. Don't worry if there's like excess fabric or it doesn't cover the entire paper. Your main concern should be the image that you want the card to be. My focus is on getting this paper doll, so it doesn't matter if all of this is still here, because I'm going to trim that away later. But I do want to make sure that there are no air bubbles on this, especially along the seam. Make sure you get that really snug down there. So once you've done that, flip the card over and do the same for the back side. Okay, so now you have both sides done, both sides covered. And what you want to do is, you want to take this and put this card between two very heavy books and let it sit for about at least an hour, just to allow the card to dry and also to make sure the card stays flat. Okay, once your card is dry, you want to go ahead and cut out your pattern. I'm cutting out my doll. I'm making sure I get every nook and cranny. Now, here's the thing. In order for your card to be a card, you can't cut everything. You have to leave some of this uncut. So this is actually the fold of the card. So I'm going to leave about 3 inches of this uncut. So I'm going to stop cutting here. I'm going to stop cutting here, and I'll probably pick up my cut down here at her dress, leaving this uncut so that I will have a nice, I'll be able to open it and have a nice fold. So let me go ahead, I'm going to start down here and cut. Okay, so here you have her, and I open her up. So I have a card. Now if you wanted to, at some point before you cut, you could have actually covered this with some paper if you wanted to make it more pretty, or painted it, but I'm just going to keep it plain for now. So now that we have the card, I would recommend that you place this between the books again and let it sit for an hour. Again, we want to make sure that the card stays flat, so just give it that extra time just to flatten out. And then once that's done, we can go ahead and embellish. Let me give you a tour of what some of the things that I did embellishment wise for this card. I used glitter a lot for this. I glittered the brim of her hat. I used glitter to streak her hair, for her eyes, for her lips, and even for her shoes. I had a lot of fun with glitter. And I'm going to show you how I did it. I love these shoes. They're really cute, and I also love the idea of having shiny black shoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fine tip paintbrush, dip it in some glue, and spread glue over one of the shoes. Strictly just the black portion, and I'm adding some. And I'm working with since we're going to be doing glitter, I have a piece of paper under here. And I'm going to take some black glitter. You know what? I'm going to have some fun with this. I think I'm going to change the color of these shoes and make them red. Since I did black in the original, I'm going to make them red. So I'm going to take some red glitter. This is Martha Stewart glitter. I'm going to take some red glitter. And I'm going to just sprinkle . Doesn't matter that the other areas are getting the glitter. There's no glue on those areas, so that's okay. But I'm just sprinkling, and then occasionally tap it out. And I'm going to take, you can also blow, because you see how there's some stray glitter, you know, along here, and it's not as defined. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to take a dry paint brush, and I'm just going to brush away what I don't want to be there. And again, I'm using, and it's brush tap. So I can really get in there and really get rid of any runaway glitter. I call it runaway glitter. See, it's starting to look a little bit better. And you can always go back and fill in, you know, if you want a little bit more. I'm going to add a little bit more glitter because I want my shoes to be a little bit more red. So I need some more glue. Just go ahead and add some more of that red. And again, tap it out, blow, and take your dry brush and just kind of brush away whatever you don't want. You know, we're trying to be very detailed with our glittering, so it's not gonna, the glitter's not gonna be all over the place. It's just gonna be where we want it. So that is one shoe done. Do the other one. And this is that you're gonna have a lot of fun with this because there's so many options. You can find just a little area that you may just want to do like a streak. I mean, we could have just done like a little ball, red ball on the tip of the shoe, or just a lot of different things. You can have a lot of fun with this by being very detailed and using these paint brushes. I'm gonna add the glitter to this shoe. Again, tap it out, blow if necessary, take that dry brush, get rid of all the runaway glitter. Dry brush is very important because I don't want this glitter to be anywhere but where it's supposed to be. So I use my dry brush. Okay, nice red shoes. Another area I wanted to do with glitter, was I streaked her hair. I added just dark streaks, but again, because I want to have fun, I think I'm going to add some gold highlights to her hair. And again, all we do with my fine point paintbrush, I just kind of make little squiggly waves. Now make sure you get enough glue on there because it has to pick up the... So I'm just kind of doing little waves, kind of trying to follow the direction of her hair. I don't want all of the hair covered. I'm just going to streak it. Okay, and I'm going to use some pretty, I think I'll add some brown streaks. Here's a nice brown. Same process. And again, don't worry when you're sprinkling. It's only going to capture the glue. The glitter will only stick to the glue. So if the area is not glued, it's not going to, you don't have to worry about it. So you want to cover up that area as much as you can. Okay. Tap it out. And blow. And then take that dry brush and remove the glitter from anywhere you don't want it to be. Just kind of, again, clean up that runaway glitter. Got some on her dress here. And here she is with her highlights. This was my original card, and I did her eyes a nice brown. I think maybe I'll make her eyes blue. Give her like an Elizabeth Taylor look. So, again, I'm just going to go into the eye. Not the whole eye, just the eyeball. And again, make sure you have enough glue because the glitter has to attach to something. And then I have some really pretty blue, and I'm just going to take it over, put it over her eye, and tap it out. Tap it and blow. Tap and blow. Oh, it looks so pretty. Look at her eyes. Let's see. I'd like to do her lips. I think I will keep those red. So let me get her back on here. Get my red. I have a very, I love these Martha Stewart glitters because there's so many colors, so many beautiful colors. So you can really play and have a good time. So I'm going to do her lips now. Again with my brush. Just apply, cover the lips. This is really why these fine point brushes are perfect, because you just get right in the lines. Okay. And then I'm going to tap that off. Tap and blow. I have perfectionist tendencies, so I'm one of those. I have to make sure the lips are semi-perfect. But you get the picture. Here she is. So there's lots of areas on this card that you can glitter. You could do the hat brim, you could even do the hat. It's up to you. So that's kind of what I did with this card. The other thing that I did, I'm not really going to show you, it's because it's kind of simple. I just had some leftover sequins, and all I did was just kind of outline the dress with the sequins. I just glued them on, and then just put some glitter, a dab of glitter, in the center. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I also added some crystals to the middle of the flowers that lined the hat brim. I just thought it was kind of fun. So here they are, the paper doll cards. This next card is called the Madonna card, and I came up with the idea. It was around Mother's Day. Again, you know, it's been a while since I made that big pledge to do this video, but this was definitely something for Mother's Day, and I used some fabric stiffener, did a little fancy trick with a punch. So let me go ahead and show you how I did it. Let me give you a quick tour of this Madonna card. I had some really beautiful fabric I'm going to show you in a few moments, and what I did was I used fabric stiffener to stiffen it, and then I cut out certain elements on the fabric that I really liked and kind of just placed it along the card. I used it here in the center, and then this is all from one piece of fabric. Then I added a nice ribbon border and just kind of topped it off with a pretty rose. I put some crystal rhinestones in the center of the roses here on the fabric. Very simple, easy process. Let me show you how to do it. I'm working with this fabric. It's kind of like this, you see this image a lot, and if you've ever been into a Catholic church, like an old Catholic church, maybe like in an ethnic area, you'll see this Madonna image. And I just fell in love with this fabric. I thought it was really beautiful. So what you want to do is you want to press it, and then you want to take fabric stiffener and apply it directly to the fabric and let it dry according to the instructions of the stiffener that you use. This one says you should let it dry for at least an hour between sprays. It took about 3 tries to get this to a stiffness that I could work with for my Madonna card. Obviously you can't see it on camera, but this kind of feels a little bit like paper, and it cuts better when it's a little stiff. So while your fabric is drying, take that opportunity to go ahead and cut your card from the cardstock. You can use any size you want, depending on the punch that you're going to use. I'm going to be using this very large jumbo punch, and it has a large oval shape, scallop shape. So I can't have it too small, but I didn't want it too large either. So I did cut my cardstock. I think this is about, let's see, maybe 6.5 by 8 inches. And then while I was doing that, I also cut a second piece of paper because I am going to line this card, the inside of this card. I want it to look pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this card and I'm going to fold it in half and get my fold, of course, if we've done that before. Then I'm going to take my punch. What I like about this punch, this is a Marvy Uchida, is that you can actually see the position of your paper before you punch it. So it's kind of neat. I'm going to make an oval. I'm just going to stick it in here. And I want to make sure. Okay. So I'm going to stick it in here. I kind of centered it. And then punch. I have a nice oval opening which I'm going to fill in. One thing you'll notice is I didn't want the oval to be centered. I wanted it just to be slightly offset. So I'm pleased with this. Now that I have my oval cut out, I want to put this image in the center. So I need to position it to see how much to cut off and how much to keep. So once I have it positioned, I think this is about right. I'll just go ahead and take my scissors and trim away. As much excess as possible. And from time to time, just keep checking. Make sure you don't cut too much. That's about right. So I just need to cut a little bit more of this. So this is what it's going to look like. So what I'm going to do is you want to leave some of the fabric on. You don't want to trim off everything because you're going to basically be gluing this fabric piece over the oval, but on the back side. So you still kind of need some type of fabric border here so that it doesn't punch through. So I'm going to take some tacky glue, my favorite kind of glue, and all I do is just apply the glue, just kind of trace that oval shape with the glue, and then I'm going to place my fabric down. And before I keep checking, make sure it's exactly where I want it to be. Just kind of stretch that fabric out over the glue, and don't worry about excess glue because we're getting ready to cover that up. Yeah, so this is how I want her. So that's fine. Smooth that out, no bubbles. And then I'm going to just, using the same colored cardstock, just cut a scrap piece of it to cover this fabric. So I'm going to just cut a strip of it, kind of line it up. I want to make sure that none of the fabric shows, and glue that down. Actually, some of that excess glue will pick that up, but you can also apply more glue. Trim it. Make sure you don't trim your main card. And I'm not really too concerned about getting glue on the other side because I'm going to cover this. I just want to get this fabric covered and give it a nice base. And also, one of the good things about tacky glue, it dries clear. So as you can see, here she is. Now, we'll just go ahead and cover. We'll take this piece of paper. You can, find some pretty complementary paper, trim it down, and I would basically glue this over the back side of the card. You can leave some border if you want. The goal is to cover up the scrap paper that is serving as a base for the fabric. Fold the card again in half, and you have a pretty card. But we're not done. We still have to embellish. Now, one of the things you could have done before applying the fabric to the oval, you could have inked the scallops if you wanted to, or painted them. Kind of would have been fun. So now it's time to embellish, and one of the first things I'm going to do is add a really pretty piece of pink ribbon as a nice border. So I'm just going to glue that on. And don't worry if you have too much ribbon, just trim it off. Not a big deal. The fabric had some really beautiful roses, so what I did was I just cut out a few. I thought it was really pretty, and I'm going to use it as a border, kind of a border, just an embellishment, just to kind of make this stand out and be really pretty. You can move it around as much as you need to get it into the position that you want it. Again, the good thing about tacky glue, it does dry clear. So I have it the way I want it, and I'm just pressing it down. If you remember, I wanted one of the leaves just to kind of overlap. So far it's looking like this, but we're not done yet. Or what do they say in those infomercials? But wait, there's more. So the next thing, I have some really pretty flowers that I'm going to add on top of the fabric flowers, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. So I have this really pretty white rose, and I'm going to put it right, I'll put it right here, right there. Apply a little pressure. Then I have this one. I think I'll put this one down here. Then I have this little tiny rose. I'm going to put this one right in between. So she's pretty. If you open her up, she's even prettier. You can also do what I did on the original card and add crystal centers to the roses, the fabric roses. Now, looking at this card, I feel like there's too much card at the top, so I am going to trim this a little bit. So there you have it, your very own Madonna card. This last card, it's actually unfinished. I'm going to finish it now in the video. It was a card, a friend of mine had her portrait taken, and it was just so beautiful. It was like a profile. And I thought, wow, that would make a really nice silhouette. And I wonder if I could incorporate that into a card so that I could give it to her. And I wanted it to be just like a simple card, maybe more like a gift tag for a larger gift that I would give to her. So I came up with this idea, and I incorporated fabric strips, actually, just some scraps, because I found that working with fabric, I had a lot of scraps, strips of fabrics from, cutting away different things. So I said, let me figure out a way to use my fabric scraps in a card. And of course, I always want to use glitter. And then I also made a beautiful silhouette. So let me show you what I did. Here's some fabric scraps I have left over from a sewing project, and I decided to recycle them in the gift card that I was making for my friend. So here's how I did it. Take some cardstock, fold it in half. I'm using a large circle punch. Going to insert it in here. But here's the thing, I'm not going to go all the way into the punch, into the die, because I want to create a card versus cutting out the shape entirely. So I'm going to take it to about here and then punch. And I started on the fold, by the way. And I have a little card. Now what I'm going to do is take my hole punch, and I'm just going to punch a few holes around the scallop edge of this card, just on one side only. Just between the scallops, probably every other scallop. And I'll do that all the way around. Make sure you go in a little bit so you don't cut off the scallop, because you're going to be weaving the fabric through these holes. So now you take my fabric piece, just kind of fold the tip, and all I'm going to do is weave this in and out of these holes. So I'm going to bring this up, and just before it goes out, I will actually tape that down. Right in the center. And I'm going to weave in and out. And you may have to make a little pointed edge to get through the holes, but that's okay. Weave in and out. And I'm not going to go I'm not going to flatten it. I kind of want it to have a little bit of pull there. So go back and come back up. Twist it around so that the fabric shows, the fabric pattern shows. And you'll do that for all of these circles. And if you have to twist it so that the fabric pattern shows, feel free. Or maybe you want it not to show. It's up to you. But again, kind of keep this loose. So that's how I got this done. Now what I did was, remember how I taped this down? I just took a piece of paper and covered the fabric ends up. For the front cover, I used a piece of fabric, another fabric scrap, just a little bit larger, and I made a rough circle, and I kind of tore away at the edges just to kind of fringe it a bit, and I also lightly inked the edges of the fabric, and then I just glued it on top of the paper. I also inked the edges of the scallops. I used a nice brown ink. So you have your little gift card. You open it up on the inside. You can write your message here. Maybe even put a little something here. So now to embellish it, I took some chipboard, some really pretty decorative chipboard, and I did glitter this. It was already white. All I did was I just put some glue on it, and then I applied white glitter on top. So it's actually very pretty. Use some foam squares or just roll up some pieces of tape, and just to give this some height on the card, and apply it to your card. To create the silhouette, all I did was take my friend's photo and I copied it into just a plain Word document, Microsoft Word document, and then I manipulated it. I made large image and then I made a smaller image. I printed it out on copy paper and cut it down, and then using some scraps, this is just some leftover scrap paper, I just created a silhouette. I cut around, I took the smaller one and I cut around on the darker paper and created this pretty silhouette. So what we're going to do with this silhouette is we're going to put this right in the center of the chipboard, but I'm not going to put it underneath the chipboard. I want it to come on top like that. So this would also require foam dots, or just roll up some tape. Okay, here she is. Almost done. I have some pretty flowers. You know me, I love flowers. And I'm just going to glue them onto the card. And here's my tag. And I can thread ribbon through this hole here and attach it to the gift. So there you have it. 3 ideas to put a little oomph in your card making. I hope you're inspired to make your own fabric cards. And I have to let you know, Cropped has a new affordable online class opening up this week with a couple of people you really, really like, and you're going to love the project. So go to the link below and find out about the project and sign up. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for your patience. I know it took me forever to get this video done. I had a good time doing it. I didn't think I would, because I'm more behind the scenes than in front of the camera. But I do thank you, and thank you for supporting Cropped, and that is it. Bye-bye.